All right, hello and welcome to Angels of Purpose Ministries, where we feed your soul food, food for your soul. So, just out in the yard, wanted to come to you today. Have a few things to talk about. But first, we're going to talk about the redistricting of that Kemp has just signed into place that will be happening in June. So what he's doing is he waited till after the primary so he could redistrict. They could go in, have emergency legislation meeting. And so what they're trying to do now is keep all the, a lot of the black females and the black leaders who actually get stuff done or fight for the people, not able to win their races. So they're going to redraw the lines to make it favorable for the, let's call it what it is, the old boys club, the KKK, whatever you want to call it, right? So for all of those people who are in Moultrie or wherever you are, thinking that folks have made it because you got a little bit of money and you have had a little bit of success, I'm here to tell you, that does not make you exempt for what's coming ahead. And you're going to realize too late. Even those who are over organizations, those who are where there's nonprofit organizations, where there is political organizations, where there is churches, where there is companies or whatever, you're going to realize too late that you're getting people out of office who are helping and getting stuff done so that you have what Family Medical Leave Act, the FMLA, that so that you have sick leave and paid vacation. And the way things are going, you're not going to have any of that. The only people who are going to have that is the old boys club and whoever they decide is worthy enough to have it. So what I do, I'm not afraid to speak truth to power, power to truth, however you want to say it. I want to talk about something else too. People say that people of color are not oppressed, that white people are too busy doing other things. You better wake up. Just because your family got a little bit of money and got a little bit of property and they treat you right don't mean that they're not oppressing the people. They got you up under their thumb so that they can know what's going on in the black communities, because you try to trick and fool folks, making them think you're on their side when you're taking everything back to them, and when you acting like you have a plan when you're not going to do anything. And there's a lot of people like that in the community where I am, Southwest Georgia. The redistricting is going to be basically in the big cities or bigger cities, like the places where, like Congressman Sanford Bishop, probably. They're probably going to try to get him out of office, right? Because he's one of the black Democrats. And then in the cities around Atlanta, okay? Because there's a lot of black women that's in leadership and doing different things. So in the big cities that make a fact, in Southwest Georgia, especially the rural areas, they got that on lock. And I'm going to tell you this, the old boys club and the leader of the Republican Party in Moultrie, Georgia, and in these rural areas, they'll tell you that they don't worry about what they use the N-word. They don't worry about their black folks, because their black folks know their places and stay where they're supposed to be. And the only time they get riled up is when from somebody out of town or educated, they use the N-word, an educated person come in trying to stir them up. So I've been talking about how this one organization in Moultrie does not want to use the black leaders in the community who do research and can educate people. It's because that person is under their thumb too. And so they're holding the people back. They're helping them oppress the people. So for all of those, whether you're a pastor or whoever it is, for all of you who think people aren't oppressed, and for all of you who think you've made it, you're about to get a wake-up call. For all of you who've been pretending, just like you play church, and you've been pretending to help the people, you're going to have a wake-up call. And just like those who play church, who think they get away with it, God got something for them. Don't worry about it. God got them. They acting like they want to help the people when they're not. They're just making things worse for the people and just telling the folks who are pressing them all their plans and giving them the information. God got something for that. In the church, in the Christianity, in the religious world, in the agnostic world, or those who proclaim to just trying to help the people who be pretending that they're Democrats when they're Republicans, who think the old boys club gonna care for them just because they cook their family collard greens and soul food. Nah, all you are to them is somebody they own who don't even know they own. And I heard at a meeting they were talking about the Republicans playing chess while other folks are just playing. Nah, what they're playing is a psychological game of making some people who they're allowed to have power, that they've bribed with money, that they've bribed with land, that they've bribed with titles, to get positions to keep their own people oppressed. And when I say their own people, the people of their racial, ethnicity, coloring of their skin, right? So that's the problem we have in Southwest Georgia, in Georgia as a whole. And again, if you want to contact me and email me, a lot of my time is about to be freed up. I still will be working with some youth, but I will be focusing more on educating people this summer, both young and old, and getting people empowered and giving them the knowledge that they need to have for what's about to come. And all of this is, if people would have just read Project 2025 and believed it, and I know it was like 700 and 900 pages, I think it's like 920 or whatever, written by the person over the Heritage Foundation, right? I'm just going to say this too. The people who go to these Caucasian churches, y'all aren't going to be exempt for what's going to come and what's coming down the line and what's already here, but you just don't know it. These people smile in our faces, go behind our backs. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And then I want to speak on this too. On my last thing, I didn't say this. And again, I'm not going to say the organization, but when I went to a meeting, I think it was Tuesday night, and most people will know what organization I'm talking about by saying that. Tuesday night, now these people haven't even been elected by the people like me who pay dues, and they want to say now, oh, well, we don't push paying dues. Yeah, you just don't want people to have a voice. You want certain people in power so that you can dictate everything that's done or not done. That's why nothing gets done by that organization. That's why nobody's educated or empowered, or they wait till too late to try to educate or empower people till they're called out to try to pretend like they're not Republicans when they are, and they over the Democratic Party, right? So what happened was, in the meeting, they had this, again, Caucasian young boy in college who supposedly was an expert on all the candidates, supposedly knew all the stuff that go on state legislature, which she doesn't, right? And when people started asking questions, you could clearly see it. And so he didn't know the answer. So I would raise my hand. They act like they didn't see it. So then I would say, because somebody asked him, what does the polling show? He said, well, there are no polls. Just blatantly, whether he's ignorant, didn't know, didn't do his research, but they brought him somebody who supposed to be going to law school soon. I don't care whether he was white, black, yellow, green, blue, but don't bring somebody to a meeting who hadn't even did their research to give information on something they don't even know about. That's why I say these people are oppressed, and they got people so afraid in rural areas like Moultrie, Georgia, because they're threatening your job. If you say something, we're going to take your job away. We're going to blackball you. They got people so scared that people don't want to get out their comfort zone because they got to pay their bills. They don't want to be out on the streets, right? They got a family to feed, right? Well, I'm going to tell y'all this. I don't have a family to feed. It's just me and my puppy. You can threaten me all you want. You can threaten my life. You can threaten my money status and all of that kind of stuff. But I'm going to tell you, I'm here in Moultrie, Georgia to make a positive difference, and I'm not going anywhere. And I don't care who y'all show this to, who you give it to. All right. So this Caucasian young man, not going to call his name, right? They started asking him questions. He didn't know the answers. And of course I did, because I've done my research, because I've worked with the Democratic Party since I graduated college, through Work in America. And I worked through Work in America, I worked with different organizations like AFL-CIO, ACLU, right? Who helps litigate a lot of stuff for people and the unions pay for stuff. So I was flying all over the country doing work that the people who are in unions pay dues for. So I didn't have to pay for airplane tickets, didn't have to pay for a hotel. The money that they gave us a per diem per day to get food with, because I was one of the ones making sure people got FMLA, Family Medical Leave Act, that you still get your sick, when you are off from work because you're sick, you get your sick leave. When you get take your vacation, you get vacation money for that, right? I was one of those people, the first responders getting their pensions. I was one of the people going all over the country doing that kind of work, which a lot of people don't know. And I'm saying it to say this. A lot of the folks that people try to treat that they don't know because they don't know their family or who they come from until I say something, or because they think that they can intimidate you or whatever. They don't know who you are. They don't know who God has called you to be and what God has brought you in this world to do, which is to stand up for the marginalized and not be afraid or intimidated by evil folks who pretend that they're good. Wolves in sheep clothing, right? And some of them are just wolves in wolf's clothes. You can tell them straight out. This young man didn't know most of the candidates. He might have knew 5 out of the 20, so a quarter of them, right? If that. And so I'm just raising my hand, giving information that he didn't know how to give, and asking questions and telling the information. And then if I didn't know it, of course, I would pull up the people's website and read what they had on their website about the stuff they've done, so people would know that. And hey, and I told him, I said, anything you need to know about these people, especially the major races, they have their website under their name. You don't have to wait for a Caucasian male who don't know what he's talking about in the first place because he's too young, he don't have any experience, he don't even know how to do the stuff that you're asking him help with because he hadn't done it, he hadn't been taught how to do it, and he's only, and that's why, I'm just going to go ahead and say it, that's why the Democratic Party in South Georgia, especially most of Georgia, don't get anything done, because you have people in leadership who don't know how to do anything, who don't want to do research, or they make excuses because they don't have enough time to do stuff, and they don't want to utilize the people who are there who understand and have the knowledge and the education to teach them, because they feel threatened and intimidated because of they don't want to lose their position. And it's not about losing a position or caring about your title. You should be caring about people being empowered. You should be caring about people getting the information they need. But instead, you bring people who don't know what they're talking about just because they white into a meeting to try to say something, and they can't even answer the questions. And pretty much he was saying the wrong stuff, wrong information. I had to correct that every time. And then one of the Caucasian males, I guess, who's supposed to be taking over, which they hadn't voted, right? They didn't let us vote for anything, but supposed to be designated by the one who's over the Democratic Party now, supposed to be taking over, talking about, we're going to be in here and we're going to all be respectful. He said something else different. I'm paraphrasing. And everybody said, nobody's not being disrespectful. We're just, sharing information, getting it out, having questions answered. Because for one, y'all brought somebody in there who didn't even know what he was talking about. And just think, God works in mysterious ways. God always have people in positions at certain places and certain times to bring forth truth. Because the word of God says, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you or make you free. And what people don't want you to have in the South, whether it's Alabama, whether it's Mississippi, whether it's Georgia, whether it's South Carolina, whether it's Virginia, whether it's Tennessee, whether it's any of these Southeast states, right? Southeast states, where they also call it the Bible Belt, but they've always had the worst education. The school system scores, the grades for reading, ELA, for math, for science, has always been the worst in these states. All those states I just called out, right? Been the worst. Louisiana. That's because they want to keep people ignorant. They want to keep people illiterate because they don't want you to know what they're doing to you. They want to make you think, they're smiling in front of your face and say, oh, we're going to help give y'all tax cuts. You're going to have a Homestead Act, and you're going to get $500. When the Homestead Act been in existence, at least I know because I worked for Jackson Hewitt, and I was the over the CSAs in the district. That's been there for over 10 years or more. And they act like they just doing it, and you should give them the praise and glory because they just doing that for you in Southwest Georgia and Moultrie, Georgia now. It's all because of them that people in Georgia are getting it. That's been there. Right? And if people who don't do their research, I should say, if people who do their research are too afraid, or people who are educated, or people who, because everybody has something to lose, but we have to have people who stand up and not care about getting out of your comfort zone to speak truth to power, and not just talk about it on Facebook, but actually do it in the community. Like some of the stuff I plan on doing is, they asked this young boy, say, so how can we get out to young people? He said, well, now all we're doing is just doing phone banks. I was like, dude, you can get people out to vote. You can get people canvassing. You have to go to the schools. I guarantee you this dude, because he's a white boy who don't know nothing about nothing. So what I did in Jacksonville, Florida, our base was like right around one of the HBCUs in Jacksonville, Florida. Matter of fact, when I started working there for Florida Consumer Action Network, the people running the office was from a HBCU, right? And then it switched over to me and a Caucasian. And then we were running the office. One of the people, I can drop his name because he doesn't care. He's a staunch Democrat. Adam Bride, who lives in Chicago, Illinois. And I was the person making sure that everybody we needed to get flown in got flown in, and then building up our canvassers. And what we did was we worked with the HBCUs. So I'm going to tell you the plan. What you need to do is, Albany State is around here, okay? We have FAMU, which usually they'll do a lot of stuff in Tallahassee, Thomasville. But we got Albany State, which can do a lot of stuff in Albany, Georgia. But what we have to do is get the young people involved. We can't just sit around and say, oh, we're just going to do phone banks. Phone banks don't work. That's why we are in a predicament we are in. In rural areas and places like this, you have to say, hey, you got to be basically beating people up over the head with radio, TV, with going to their houses or having different community forums or events to get information out to them, being on social media, giving them a place to be able to say, okay, ask questions, right? And answer those questions. If we're not giving people an outlet to understand knowledge, because most people, they'll say, I don't have time to do this research. I don't have time to read. I don't have time to do this and do that. And they'll take information that the people are giving that are lying straight to them and don't even know those folks lying to them and just take it for good. Or they'd be like, oh, it was a great idea for Republicans to come speak to the Democratic Party in Moultrie, because then we'll know. We gotta do unity. We got to work together, unity, but you can't even work with the black folks who are educated instead of working with the black folks who are educated and know what they're talking about and have ran campaigns nationwide, gubernatorial, presidential campaign elections, state elections, district, regional elections, nonpartisan stuff, making sure that everybody gets a chance to reap the benefits from people who does those things. And I'm going to say I'm one. And it's just mind-boggling to me. No, it's not, because I know how the Caucasians, the old boys club, has played it since slavery days. They used the Willie Lynch mentality, which they divided people because of one's light-skinned, one's dark-skinned, one worked in the fields, one worked in the house. They divided people because one was older, one was younger. They divided males and females. That's how they kept all their slaves, that they had 10, 20 of them. Some had more than that, right? To their 2 or 3 or 4 people in their family. And that's how they kept their slaves under their authority and rule, and had them fearing, because they'd be like, oh, if master catch us, we're going to get whipped. And the whipping they use today is, oh, yeah, let me see you step out of line. Let me see you put something on social media we don't like. We're going to blackball you. We're going to try to blackball your business. We're going to make sure you don't get into the schools. We're going to make sure you don't get into these corporations. We're going to make sure, do whatever you may try to do. All I can say for those kind of people is, what doors God opens for me or people like me or whoever it is, as long as we're walking in love, truth, and what God has called us to do, there's no door you can close that God opens. And there's no door that you can open that God closed. And there's nothing you can do to us until God says our time is up on this earth. So as I think about all the people who sacrificed during to get people free from slavery or during the civil rights and all of this stuff, and it seems like we're going backwards now because people are too comfortable with the little bit they do have and think they've made it, and they're too comfortable to speak up and they don't want to lose their car. They don't want to lose their house. They don't want to lose their title as commissioner of the board in the one district that they are commissioner, the one black person. They don't want to lose their city council position. We can't get the Caucasians upset. We can't upset the old boys club because they're going to come after us. Oh Lord, what we going to do? But all these same people be crying, okay, we have faith in God. We have faith in Jesus. But Jesus helped those who were marginalized. He helped those that didn't have. He fed those who needed to be fed, both spiritually, physically, financially. He did whatever he could to help people. He didn't just sit on his behind. If we're following Jesus and we're trying to be Christ-like, the word of God says faith without works is dead. And that's going to be my scripture for today. Faith without works is dead. So if we're doing that, we can't just let people who telling you anything, who's whitewashed the Bible, who's whitewashed history. And I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to say it again. I'm not saying all Caucasians are bad, just like all black people aren't good, right? All Caucasians aren't bad. All Hispanics aren't bad. But there's a stronghold that they have over the United States, especially in the South, especially in Georgia, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee. And they saw their grip being, they were losing the grip on the control they had. So now they're trying to redistrict so that they don't lose power. Why do you think they allowed COVID to happen? With all the technology in this world and all these educated folks, we had the wrong administration in office for one. But if you ever study history and you study political game theory, like I did, you understand that there's been times in the world, eras in the world, where they allow plagues and different things to happen, and they don't be so rushed to get the cure because they want certain people to die out. Now, if y'all hadn't heard about the Hunter virus, which every time this administration is office, Trump is in office, we seem to get something, a pandemic on our hands. Now, people say it's not going to happen, just like people say, we're not in trouble. Went to a Democratic meeting 2 months ago. We're talking about we're not in trouble. We're not in trouble. The head of the Democratic Party. Have you read Project 2025, woman? Do you know how much gas prices are going to go up because the same people you be praising and you know, trotting about the community and cooking collard greens for? And what they're doing and how they're talking about you behind your back. They may be saying, oh yeah, Miss So-and-so. Oh yeah, this my boss. In front of your face, but they laughing behind you saying, nah, that's our puppet. They keep the black community in control. But we're about to dismantle that right now. Because certain leaders in this community are misguiding people and helping the oppressor oppress people. I'm not going to say that it's only the Caucasians, right? But some of the people who think they're Caucasian, they forget they not. And let me just say this. There should only be one race, the human race. It shouldn't have anything to do with color. But they made it about color because they wanted to feel like they were more important than other people. So since they made it about color, since they made it about whether you're a male or female gender and talking about this is a patriarchal society, and since they did all of that, let me just tell y'all and educate you all on some things. The Western world was the only part of the world that didn't respect their elders. What America is doing by putting their elderly in nursing homes, that would have never happened in Africa, on the continent of Africa. All the stuff, and then how they tried to make it seem like Africans were especially South Africa, Nigeria, well, you know, Europe, Western world, renamed the places in Africa and claimed their territory. But they tried to make it seem like all those people were stupid and ignorant. No, they weren't. Yeah, they were trading with them before they tried to enslave them. Once they saw all the great resources they had, they were like, I don't want to just get what they give me. I want to take them over. And that's what happened. Okay? Please, I want to make sure, start getting this stuff out. In that meeting, in that Democratic Party meeting, people said, I wish I knew we would have talked about who to vote for before. And if these people would have been looking at my Facebook, and my YouTube posts, they would have known, because I said who was on the ballot and I told them how their stance and what they were running for. So what I need you all's help for is to spread the message. Hey, this is somebody who is educated, but this is somebody who truly has a heart to help the people. This is not somebody who can be bribed or bought with land, money, or power. This is somebody who will get out of her comfort zone and continue to stay out of her comfort zone and not worry about what people say or think about her, but will work and strive to empower and educate people to make everybody's lives better. That she's not going to just try to be like, oh, let me get some material stuff or let them get me some money and I don't care about folks. No. That's what they've been doing in the black community, African American community, for all these years. They get people who are caught up on material things, they're caught up on recognition and give them some titles, positions, some land. Oh, we put one black person on the school board or the commissioner or whatever, then the black folks will be happy. And it doesn't have to be somebody who's actually thinking or working for them. We just have to make it look like that way while we puppet them and have them do whatever we want. Oh, if they get a few people on the city council, that'll make the black people happy. They won't say anything or do anything. Oh, if we say that if you put anything on media talking against the school board, or put anything on media talking against Trump, or put anything on media talking against whatever, with all the crazy stuff they said about President Obama and all the crazy whatever, especially Trump, threats and all of that kind of stuff that he did, and then he's a criminal. You got a criminal ahead of the United States. That's crazy. But they'd rather a criminal be ahead of the state instead of a black woman who knew what she was gonna do, and who would have helped the people, and we wouldn't be in wars. And matter of fact, we're gonna get, and he's gonna over exude himself. Right now, he's bound down to China. Let me just tell you that Trump is bound down to China because he realized all these tariffs he put on is hurting his farmers, his people, his MAGA folks, and those MAGA folks are still protecting them. Now you see these folks getting, you tell the racist folks, when I have comments, I hear them, whether it's in the schools, churches, or grocery stores or whatever, I can tell the way people think by the comments they make. Person said, I said a positive thing about Caitlin Clark, who I really don't like because I know she's racist and her following is racist. Caitlin Clark is a basketball player. And some kids talking about, oh, well, Angel Reese is horrible. She can't shoot. I'm like, Angel Reese is good. She has double-doubles almost every game. What are you talking about? And so I know what their parents have been talking about. I know what the folks have been talking about because they've even made basketball, well, they've always made sports, about race too. When, they got, Kaepernick for kneeling down instead of standing up to the Pledge of Allegiance, right? But then, Trump can cause an insurrection and still be the president of the United States. How crazy is that? But Kaepernick just didn't, stand up. And then they can call us all kinds of names and our people will be okay with it and not say anything and be like, oh, we just gotta be okay. We just gotta follow along. Cause that's just how it is. We just gotta go along to get along, right? Especially what they say. That's why they feel they have the black folks in communities like Moultrie, Georgia, under their armpit. And then those folks who start speaking up, right, or speaking out, They'll try to bully or intimidate, right? Like, they tried to bully and intimidate me after that, Kirk thing, which basically was a Klan rally. And then they sick one of their, black, I want to say one of their black people that they got up under their thumb, that they gave some money and land to, and made think that, you know, he's one of them, sicked him on me, right? And started lying about where I was and all this kind of stuff, which I could have sued for defamation, but because it was lies, but I ain't gonna worry about it because he not even worth my time. From what I hear, he don't even keep his houses up that he rent out to folks. So, anyway, he's a slumlord. Anyway, so he need to focus on doing what he need to focus on, right? But you have these other folks who, you know, they feel entitled. No matter where you go, they feel entitled. Caucasians, Karens, whatever you want to call them, feel entitled to do stuff that's not right. And then when you call them out on it, they want to try to bully and intimidate you about stuff. Not afraid of you. All these Karens in Moultrie, Georgia. This African-American female right here, not up under y'all finger, not up under your thumb. I don't care. You can bully up and try to. And it's so funny to me. The ones who act the craziest and do the most wrong stuff, because it's not what you know, it's who you know. They don't end up paying the price for what other folks who may have did something wrong once in their life have to pay. Right? It's all in who it is who does it. They want you to think that black people commit the most crime. This started coming after slavery. They wanted to make black people seem like they were stupid, ignorant, that they couldn't live on their own, that they weren't smart, they couldn't do anything. But when the Reconstruction period came and they started having all these like black Wall Streets and black people who were prospering and starting to farm land, and they were doing better than they thought they were going to do. They were like, uh-oh, we got to stop this. So they started burning those areas. They started trying this. This is where the Ku Klux Klan came into play. We got to put these ends, that's what they call, we got to put these ends, you know, back under subjection. We got to let them know, they're not moving forward. We own this land. We own this country. That's what it is with Europe and the western part of the world. Let's say even how they got in the map. What if the map is upside down? Remember, they even used to think that the world was flat. And they used to punish people for saying the world is not flat. Oh, my Lord. There's a lot of things that they do or did that didn't make any sense, but people went along with it. When folks were learning about how different plants help folks, they would call them witches. When they were now, those same plants that they use for medicinal and getting the medicines and made the medicines out of, they're now called, you know, doctors, right? It's just really crazy. And I know I've been on my rant because what's going on and how people are just so comfortable to let it go on, and how somebody said in the meeting, the black churches, the civil rights movement started out of the black churches. Why aren't the black churches doing more? I can tell you why the black churches aren't doing more. Because they're scared of what the old boys club gonna do to them. They're scared of, and they say to your face, they'll tell you a story and say they're not, but they are. So that's why they don't talk about politics in church. They may skim over it, right, and say, oh, Trump is whatever causing this, but God got us. And that's all you're going to hear, right? But who have game plans and who's giving them game plans to help them with what's coming, because people like me read Project 2025 and most of these pastors didn't, right? They don't utilize, right? Again, too many people be and threatened when folks who have knowledge, understanding, and wisdom try to help them get their flocks ready, to try to help them get their community ready, because they don't want the blowback of the white community, of the Caucasians. They don't want the blowback. They're so afraid of them. That's why it's not talked about in these churches. Now you go to big, larger cities, you'll see, and all these MAGA churches or mega churches, not MAGA, but mega churches that these people be so, talking about all these pastors. At least their pastors do stuff in the community to help their people. They may not be perfect, but nobody's perfect because none of these pastors aren't perfect either. So they got to be careful about how they talk about God's people. They don't want people to talk about them, but then they'll talk about these big churches that have all these followings. But these big churches are giving away a whole bunch of foods, helping folks, and actually going to the state legislature to try to get stuff done. Actually educating their people on the political and local government, how it runs, unlike the churches here in Moultrie, Georgia. These pastors will allow people to stay ignorant because they don't want the blowback of the old boys club in Moultrie, Georgia. I mean, when you have a city, it's not even a city, when you have a town that has not even had an election for the mayor in over 30 years or 40 years, probably as long as I've been alive, that's crazy. That's ridiculous. Why? Because they got the system set up. They got it like that. They can do it like that because nobody fights against the power that oppresses the people. And then they put black people in leadership who say, oh, I got the most vote than anybody, than whatever, which I actually look at the numbers of who gets voted because it's public stuff and all of that. And if you work for the Democratic Party and all of that kind of stuff, or work for third party organizations that do political work, you know the numbers. This person bragging, oh, I got the most numbers and they so scared of me. They're not scared of you because you up under their thumb too. They just using you as a puppet. And I said one time, okay, well, it'll show me who they are if they invite a certain person. And they invited a person who I know would take stuff right back to the Caucasians and tell the players. So that told me who they were right there. You can't have unity in a community when you allow the oppressor to keep oppressing the people. When you're too afraid of allowing the true leaders to put true leaders in place. And you want to just keep those folks who are, I'm not going to say Uncle Tom, because the story we got about Uncle Tom is completely backwards. He actually helped his people. And they flipped the script and spun it. And most people don't even know that. Uncle Tom was not a bad guy. He was a good guy. And the exact opposite of how it was spun. But anyway, they have these people who they're allowed to get elected to make it seem like you have black leadership in power that's going to make a change that only keeps the status quo. And nothing is never going to change. You're never going to be able to get people out of what they're in. And then especially when in the school systems, yeah, I'm going to go there. They teach to the test. They're not teaching critical thinking or analytical thinking skills. And you have people over the schools, some of the people over the schools, not all of them, but some of them over the schools are just, wanting folks to focus on ELA and math because that'll make them look good so that they can get another position, right? And then what they're trying to do is force out the folks who have family situations, people that I've, went all over the country trying to make sure that they can have FMLA, right? Family Medical Leave Act, without recourse. They're not supposed to get punished for if they need that. That's why you have FMLA. It's so easy to get so frustrated. I remind myself I'm back in South Georgia. I'm back in the South. And I say, how can people fall for so much? And it doesn't make any sense to me. But if you can, please send this to everyone in your family, everyone in your church, in your community. Hopefully they'll look at this. Hopefully they'll start connecting to the real leaders in this community and the folks who's going to educate them about how local government works, how state government works, about Project 2025, about this administration, about what's coming down the line. Because I'm going to tell you this. If the so-called leaders and pastors didn't want to listen and not going to put anything up to be able to help their congregations, their flock out, somebody needs to make sure that the people know what's coming. But I also was told, people say that's conspiracy. But if you see the gas prices are going up, I mean, almost $5. Shoot, pay almost $60, $70 fill up vehicle, right? Minimum. And then the farmers haven't been getting their fertilizer, and then because of the soybean tariffs, that's why Trump is in China begging and kissing the ring of China's head of government. Trying to correct a lot of this stuff he's done, and then he's spreading out our military so much that if anybody wanted to attack us, they could attack us. And we wouldn't have any defense because we're so spread out around the world. And then they be paying so much money, millions and billions of dollars, trying to make these folks rich. The top 1% more richer, instead of thinking about how this is costing the American people who we pay taxes. And if one of their stuff gets shots down, their planes or their drones, is millions of dollars, when all these people they're fighting are only paying thousands of dollars for their drones or for their weaponry, which is destroyed, right? I mean, Ukraine has been fighting Russia for going on what? How many years now? 3 years? And Russia thought they could trample all over them and, intimidate them and bully them back into Russia, right? Nope. Trump thought he could go into Iran and just have 2 or 3 days and it'd be done. He didn't study history about Persia, because Persia is current day Iran. So we're being run by people who don't even know history, don't even study history, don't care about it, don't care about the people, don't care about the troubles that's going to come along. And I really do hope some leaders in this community, people who call themselves leaders, some of these pastors, get their non-perishable items stocked up in their kitchens, so that when this food drought comes or the famine comes to the United States, which you start seeing food shortages by time school year start next in August, that they have the food to help their people. But we'll see. Everybody's too busy with trying to please their wife or trying to do whatever or trying to be seen or trying to be recognized instead of trying to take care of the people. That's what it appears to be to me. And the ones who are selfless, and who try to educate and empower people, they try to tear down and blackball. I'm going to tell you this. You can try to blackball me all you want. Try to tear me down all you want. But the truth is got to get out there. It's not only me. It's Joy Reid. It's Don Lemon. It's Roland Martin. Right? But I'm just a local person here. But if y'all don't want to believe all the stuff that I've been talking about, you can go again to Joy Reid, who used to be on MSNBC, who Donald Trump didn't like, so he got her fired. Don Lemon, who used to be on CNN, and Roland Martin, who's been independent broadcaster for a minute. Black Star Power. But he used to be on a major network as well. I forget which one. CNN and different other spots used to bring him on. So be careful who you trust and who you call a leader in your community, because most of these leaders that people are speaking of, and most of these pastors, are too afraid of the old boys club to do anything and to educate you truthfully. They'll say, God gonna take care of us. God got his people. Yeah, but God also gives us brains. And just like how God told Jonah to go do something, but Jonah didn't want to go to the city of Nineveh to tell the folks, right? That's how these leaders are acting now. Because they're not even caught up of being afraid, but they so caught up in their lives being pleasurable and being seen and getting money and recognition and being on these boards and trying to impress folks, that they don't have enough time to go visit their people in the hospitals. They'll visit one person and then that's it. But they want everybody to call them when it comes to stuff. They want to be recognized as whatever, but they don't even do their job as a pastor over a flock. All right. So you can see I'm very upset. I'm very frustrated. I'm very disappointed with where we are in Moultrie, Georgia. It's like Moultrie, Georgia, black folks don't, as a whole, does not progress. And that's the South for you, because of how it is and how it's been set up. We need to break this system of oppression. Those who proclaim to be a leader and be a pastor or be a leader, you need to work with the folks who know what they're talking about, who do their research to educate your people. Because I can tell you what they're going to say. They're going to be like, I didn't think this was going to happen. And we, in theology school, we were mistrained and we got miseducated. It's not our fault. I didn't know we had stuff so backwards. I didn't know that we were just reading the slave master's Bible. Well, people who tried to tell you thought you know everything. And you didn't have time to do your research because you trying to impress your whatever folks so much. Well, anyway, I'm going to end on that. Please share this with people. I will put in my the information in the description in just a moment. So probably about 15-20 minutes. The description will be up there with the scripture. And this also will be on YouTube. Have a blessed and prosperous day.